So hi everyone, my name is Hannelore. I studied interactive multimedia design, so I studied front-end development, a little bit of back-end development, and UX and UI. And in September, I started studying again. I'm currently studying international business and trade, and Spanish and Chinese. Why Chinese? Because I like to make myself miserably. I regret it, and I don't, but that's another story. So I'm 29 years old. I'm becoming 30 this year, but I decided I will go down again, so I'll become 28 in May. I'm from Mechelen, and these are the points that we will be talking about. So I have an introduction ready. We're going to talk about WCAG, why accessibility is very important, and what you guys can do to make the world a better place and more accessible. I might sidetrack because there's a reason that I am very passionate about accessibility and everything that goes with that. I was diagnosed with autism and severe ADHD, so I will try to stay on track, but I can't make any promises. So there are a lot of people with a disability, more than everyone thinks. There's 15% of the world population that has a disability. Like whenever I say that I have autism or ADHD, people are like, oh no, there's another one. We seem to multiply, but it's not the case. We're planning on taking over the world. It's going well so far. So why does it seem that we are multiplying? That's because I saw something on Twitter, and it actually makes sense. Like during the 50s, there were less people that were left-handed. And suddenly there was a rise of left-handed people of like 13%. The thing is, we were always there, like people with ADHD, autism, and cognitive disorder and depression. We were always there, but we were suppressed. So why is there a rise of 12%, 13%? Because the left-handed were not suppressed anymore. They could finally like write however they want. And I can, woo, yeah. And I can, in a way, be myself. What is WCAG? Has anyone heard of it? Are there people that didn't hear of it already? Okay. So, which is good. So I have something to talk about and I don't repeat myself. What are these? These are guidelines. So they were written to make accessible websites, accessible content. So they're for the internet. And they are good guidelines, so they tell you like which colors can I use, which colors can't I use. They're good for people with cognitive disorders. Actually, they try to be as broad as they can, but there are limitations. And they also have a ranking of your content, like they rank it in A, AA, and AAA. They're not batteries, but it sounds like they are. They also have 4 points that they want to like stand out in. So your website or content has to be perceivable. People have to like see what's there. And for me, that's even though I wear glasses, we see what's there. People see you have a website, you see what's there, but not everybody does. There are people using screen readers and other tools, like they have these braille typewriters. So WCAG, or I will just call them the guidelines because it's hard to pronounce every time. They make sure that your app is accessible with those things, with a screen reader, with the typing machine that has braille technology. Then they have to be operable, and by that I mean they have to be operable without a mouse. Like you can use your keyboard normally, you can shift through the websites. And why is that? That's for people who have issues with their motor skills. So if someone is in a wheelchair and uses like a joystick, they can still like use the app. They can use your website if it's compliant with the guidelines. Your website also has to be understandable, which speaks for itself, but you can go really far in these things. You can decide, like, do I want to be as accessible as possible? I'd say yes. But for example, people with severe autism have issues with, like, spreekwoorden. I lost the word in English, but yes. So they have, yeah, something like that, I guess. Like whenever I can't come up with one. Thank you. So exactly, people have issues with figure of speech. Like you can use it in a website, but they might like take things literally. Not everyone with autism, because I always get like they tell me like, you don't look autistic. I don't. But you can, this guy over there, he knows I am very autistic and very annoying to live with. But he seems to like survive, so thank you.
Barely.
So up to the next thing, robust. Don't like use too many things, because trying to be great at being accessible can also become the opposite. Like you can add everything, but they have to be like consistent and they have to be a coherent thing. So you cannot follow you can follow the guidelines and make it a checklist, because there are checklists online, but the checklists are purely like technology based. Like, is there an alt text to your image? Like, if you have a screen reader and it reads everything, it doesn't say like image 345 and then it continues with the text. So like, if you add an alt text, that would be like a kitten watching a dog outside, something like that. Then we have the AAA, the anti-alcoholic. So you have the A level. This is the first level you have. That's the bare minimum. So if you have an A on the ranking, it's good, but it won't suffice. Then you have a double A, which is A and double A, so it has the whole package. And that is probably what most compliant websites have. They are AA. You also have triple A, but then color-wise, your website would be black and white, and that would be it. So you have to make some choices, and even people who have a visual impairment like a beautiful website. For the things they can see, make it beautiful, please. Then, is it enough? No, it's not enough. Because what those guidelines do, they don't talk to people. Like, people go online and they research things, and yeah, I read this online of a conversation with someone who is blind, and he told these things, so I will add those to my website as well. There's a lack of understanding on a personal basis. Like, whenever you make a website, your website is your own, your content is your own. So you have different customers, you have different people using your platform. So make sure that you speak to the people using your platform who might have a disability or an impairment, because we will all be, if we live long enough, I'm sorry guys, but we will all be disabled at one point. I am 30, I have a hernia, so the future looks bright. I mean, everyone in my family has like these fishbowl glasses, so future isn't looking at all. But please, so what I mean with this is, you're making this content for yourself as well. You're making it accessible for yourself, for your family, for your grandparents, for people that don't come out as I have ADHD and autism. Like I don't usually come to people and say like, hey, my name is Hannelore, I have ADHD and I'm an autist. Like I don't do that. Like I say it now because it kind of is in line with things that I'm going to tell you guys. But you don't know if someone has a disability. You cannot ask people either like, hey, do you have a disability? That's like, if we want to talk about it, we will. But there are platforms like here in Belgium, you have this, this group for people who have a visual impairment. I usually call them and ask them, can I interview people so I can like test my website, test my content. And they bring all this stuff, which is really cool. They bring their screen readers, they bring their Braille keyboards, they bring their iPhones, which is apparently the most accessible phone currently. iOS is very like into accessibility. They even get like a discount on buying iPhones refurbished because they are the most accessible phones for people with visual impairments, for example, and for people with cognitive disorders and everything that comes with that. So are these guidelines good? Yes, please, by all means, follow them, but give it a personal touch as well, like ask people questions, because there's nothing better than a personal opinion from someone who is actually going to use your website. You can survey all you want, and ask Facebook, like, can you please share my survey so that people with visual impairments can fill it in? Yes, that's one way, but I highly recommend you like talk with people with disabilities. You will learn so much, even looking at the bright side of life. Because if there's one thing they have to do, it's trying to look at the bright side of life, because we make the world inaccessible. People are as disabled as we make them, which sounds very harsh, but in a way it is what it is. So why would you make your website accessible? First, you have to, by law. I'm sorry guys, but you have to. This is usually when I ask someone like, why do you want an accessible website? Because I have to. Okay, yes, true. And that's where the biggest mistake is, like the budget is very low because they don't look at it as something important. Until I make like this beautiful PowerPoints telling them why you suck. I made one of these PowerPoints for Het Nieuwsblad. They had this terrible online font. They didn't want to change it. They had multiple discussions of it until I provided a PowerPoint saying, I did not literally say, this is why you suck. I felt like I tried to tell them in a way that I thought they sucked. But I don't work there anymore. I don't know why. So they changed their font because there were numbers. I provided them with numbers and data telling them like, this is the amount of people you're missing out on. They could have like a subscription on your newspaper, but they can't because they cannot read your app or font or... So your market reach is another point. Then we have business reputation. People always like to be like on Pride Month. Everyone has this avatar on Facebook with the Pride flag, and the next month is gone again, and then there's another thing, and they will change their avatar again. And businesses are always like, oh, we're super inclusive, until you ask them how many disabled people work there, and that's not so much. So business reputation is one way to make your website accessible, but make your workspace accessible as well. There are plenty of people. There was a TV fragment a while ago about someone who was in a wheelchair and he wanted to go around for jobs. He wanted a job because he said like, okay, I'm getting paid by the government now, but I want to work. But because people, like he got invited for the conversation, for the talk, and then they saw he was in a wheelchair. And that was when they told him like, we don't have a position for you. why not? He has the same abilities, except for he cannot walk to his desk, he'll roll to the desk. Is that any different? No. We were able to work from home, which he can perfectly do as well. But because we are prejudiced, we're like, oh, he has a disability, so he won't be as good as in his job. And people don't like to make the effort, so this is where we have to change. Practice what you preach, make your website accessible, but make your workspace accessible as well. SEO benefits, Google sees that you are compliant with the guidelines. Google says, good job, here, you can go up. And competitive advantage, of course. If there's a website that isn't accessible and it's your competitor, you'll win. But there's another side as well. The frustration of the people with this disability, it's not nice when you have to go through a website again and again and call someone else to please, can you order this for me because this website isn't accessible. It's frustrating. It creates stress and anxiety because you're missing out. You have social isolation, you're missing out. Even sometimes Netflix hit as an autoplay when you start Netflix, the first trailer, or you hover over a series or TV show, sound pops up. For people with screen readers, that's annoying. And you could say, what is someone with a screen reader doing on Netflix? You can still listen to movies and TV shows. And we often think that people who use screen readers are entirely blind, which is not the case. There are people with visual impairment, so they have less vision, but they can still enjoy movies, for example. So Netflix could do better. But they are socially isolated because they eventually can't. And people talk about TV shows. Have you seen this? No, because I can't. And yes, people can help, but you want to be independent. You cannot call for, hey, mom, I want to see a movie. Can you come over and press play for me? No, that's not how it works. So yes, you can see it from the business side, but you can see it both ways. Like, okay, I want a good website that's accessible so I can help people, so I can let people enjoy the website and do something easier and make their life easier. And your answer shouldn't be like, I want a good website because I want more customers. Of course, you're a business, you want more customers, but be a better person and think about why those customers are coming, because they feel good on your website, because they feel like they can do stuff without asking other people. So that's what I just said. So, creating an inclusive environment. How can you guys help creating an inclusive environment? Like I said, you cannot go around and ask people like, hey, are you disabled? No, you cannot. But you can start, whenever you design a website or design something, do it from the start as if you would design normally, but also think like, okay, I have a building with stairs. Can I implement something that someone with a wheelchair can enter the building? This should not be something that you add at the end. Try to add it as if you're creating a normal website. It's point A. Point A is I want customers on my website. Okay, how can I get everyone on my website? Not like how can I get the usual normal customer on my website? No, everyone. Start from there and go up, and it won't even be like something extra you have to do, just imply it. It's not that hard, but whenever we all do, if we all do it, it makes things a lot easier. A list. So we can design accessible infrastructure, like I said, provide accessible communication. Like what I need, if you tell me something on the phone, I will say yes, I will do it. But 5 minutes later, I've forgotten. What is accessible communication? And for you, it's an effort, but for me, it changes my entire day. Send an email. How many people forget things? I almost forgot to come here. Until I got a Slack message like, I'm looking forward to tonight. It's like, yeah, okay, right, shit. It's tonight.
That's why I sent that Slack message.
So, reminders, do it. So, accessible communication. I hate phones. Accessible communication can also be a chat on your website. If my pizza delivery is late, I won't call him. The pizza might never arrive, but I cannot I see eye rolls in the back of this room. I cannot for the life of me call to the Pizza Hut and tell them, where is my order? Impossible. The phone calls that guy had to make for me are a lot. I cannot go to the doctor. Can you call him? Can you do this for me? I cannot, for the life of me, make a reservation. Impossible. Ask something in the store. Impossible. So kiosks would be nice. Chatbots, reservation tools on your restaurant. I swear that there are a lot of customers not going to specific restaurants just because they cannot make a reservation online. I do not make phone calls for reservations. No online system, I'm not eating there. That's not happening. So that's accessible communication as well. Make it accessible for people to communicate with you or make an order or make a reservation. Make digital content accessible. That's what I've been talking about all this entire presentation, so I won't go there again. Increase awareness and education. I think that in school as well and in trainings, there has to be more awareness in work environments as well, about people that have a disability. Learn people how to communicate with us. I'm not a robot or something. You can just talk to me, but I mean, make an accessible environment. I'm repeating myself here, that's because I'm nervous, sorry. Promote employment opportunities. So do not tell people no just because they are in a wheelchair. You would hopefully select someone on how they work and how good they are. Select them on the same basis. Try to make an effort. Okay, this profile is amazing, but he has a wheelchair. No, his profile is amazing. Make it work. He has as much right on a good job and a fun job as people without a wheelchair. There are many terrible employees without a wheelchair working, so. And encourage social inclusion. Make your events accessible. This is on the main floor, so perfect. You can just straight in line come in. So that's great. Just make events accessible. There are plenty of events on the 3rd floor. You cannot reach them because they have no elevator. Keep these things in mind. And I have a Q&A now because I keep talking through my slides without going further.
Well, I just want to say that the quotes, people are only as disabled as we make them, is going to go on my list as one of the power quotes of 2023. That was so good. That's on your Twitter bio now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. That is so much good information.
Yeah, but I repeated myself, and I knew while I was doing so, I was like, you said this already.
It's fine. Lots of jokes. Everybody was laughing, so it's great. Who has questions for Hannelore? Sina, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering because people often are lazy as well, so I'm pretty sure that all the time we don't make sure that the guidelines are actually there. Will AI, do you know that, change that? Because with algorithms, maybe things can become easier because they will help screen readers and other technology.
I really, really hope so. I'm a big AI fan, not the AI art things. I'm an illustrator myself. Fuck AI art. But I think there are so many opportunities in AI because I went to. Do you guys know Lieve Scherre? Mm-hmm. So I went to Lieve Scherre, his AI presentation, and he even said that there was an eye clinic that was so overwhelmed, so they decided to put a machine there where you could scan your eyes and it would say like, okay, you are prone to have cataract or not. So when it ran in the family, instead of going on a consultation, you could use like the screen, the scanner. And AI on itself managed to, based on the eye, tell if someone was female or male. And till this day, they still don't know what it makes the AI decide if it's male or female. So AI knows much more than us.
That's from a diagnostic perspective.
Yeah.
I'm really thinking about supportive.
Yeah, but I think because of that, because they can like make patterns, like I said, people with autism, ADHD, we are not the same, but there are patterns. There's a reason why we get diagnosed. So I think that AI will definitely play a big role, and that would be so amazing.
In responsive design, like they can automatically respond to different types of needs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If this is like, maybe you could ask like, okay, this is my website. Mm-hmm. Could someone with a visual impairment like manage or navigate? Mm-hmm. And maybe it can say, yes, it's perfectly possible. So I hope with the rise of AI that we can, in fact, make everything more accessible.
That would be great.
There were a number of other questions.
I think I saw Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, a really quick one. So I'm not a specialist in these matters, but I understand you need the UI needs to be different, but do you need to code differently as well to be?
Yes. What is very important, like titles and everything like H1, H2, which are things that, you know, after a while you might think like, I will like fix it in CSS. But it really, the screen reader doesn't read your CSS file. Your screen reader reads the entire code. Mm. So yes, you have to take some things into account when coding.
Okay, so yes, coders are certified as well now to be knowing the principles.
I think there are certifications that you can like acquire by as a coder, yeah.
Last question.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
On the legal side, everybody needs to be accessible because you say I understand it's a big banks and big institution, but like you have a small website, you a small.
For now,
size.
it's governmental. All the government sites have to be accessible. They have to comply to a certain level of accessibility based on these guidelines. So small websites, no, but we'll get there eventually. So I would say, why not begin now?
They're working on a framework to get every public company to adhere to the guidelines as well. So that's up next.
That's next,
And
yeah,
I mean,
after
if
the
every
government.
public traded company has to do it, it's not going to take long for everyone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you next.
To your point of view, to your opinion, do you think that it's more expensive to develop a website which is very accessible?
I think that depends on how you start, because the problem now is that websites, big companies already have websites. So the extra cost is making these websites accessible. So that would be the extra cost. But when you start from the beginning and you implement it at the start, I don't think it's going to be a bigger cost. But the problem now is like Newsblad, for example, it already exists, the app exists, the paper exists, everything exists. So making it accessible may take a while. It takes research. So yes, these things cost money.
But responsive design used to be more expensive, and now it's just the way that we do design. Sustainable design is now, hopefully soon, will be the way that we do design. Yeah. So, you know, it's the same kind of pattern. Is there one last question before we stop? Oh, sorry, I did see you before, so.
Well, it's maybe a little bit more personal, so I can ask it at that case as well.
I will prefer everything, it's okay.
Maybe you can decide for yourself. I was just going to ask some of your personal favorite websites and tools and the reason why.
I'm going to think about it and I will come back to you. That's okay. Okay.
Then let's go with
I was wondering if you had any idea what the state is on accessible television sets.
That's a
Like,
good question.
Netflix can do a lot on their web experience.
Yes, they can do a lot on their web
Or
experience.
television apps or Apple TV apps. Do you have any idea if there's any progress there?
Progress-wise, I think Apple TV is going the right way since they take accessibility in account in every design they make. But for example, Netflix already has this issue since the beginning. There have been complaints, but I don't see any change. So I don't think they see it as an issue because I think in their head they're like people who watch TV are people that don't need a screen reader maybe. I don't know their train of thought, so I cannot answer that correctly. But good question.
And yours might be a good one to post on Slack, because I'm sure other people might have some resources to add to it as well. So you can take it there.
Post my notes after.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hannelore, thank you so much. I think this
you're
is
welcome.
number 2 for you.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
You can add it,
Yeah, to
right
my-
below the other
yeah,
one on
I'll
your
take like a
motorcycle jacket.
scouting jacket.
Yeah, oh,
so I can
that's true, yeah.
if you guys make badges based on the event, I can make a collection.
That's a fantastic idea. Okay, picturing that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. All right, so that's it for the talks tonight. Thank you, everyone, and thank you especially to our 2 speakers and our hosts for having us here. We have some pizza that just arrived. And if you would love to join us next month, we would love to have you. We're going to be also in Antwerp at Springbok?
No, crafting.
Craftsing. I always screw this part up. We'll be at Craftsing, which is actually just right around the corner, I believe, on the 25th of April. So hopefully we'll see you there. Otherwise, next time. And thanks very much.